I like to spend a lot of time in my private space, like a cat. Don't come near me. But when I'm with a person, I give them all my attention. I've always believed that there's something incredibly powerful about solitude. It's not about pushing the world away. It's about creating a space where you can truly connect with yourself. We live in a world that never stops. There's always noise, always someone calling for your attention, always something to do. It's easy to get caught in the rhythm of it, to feel like you need to keep moving just to keep up. But I've learned that the most important moments are the ones where you pause, when you step away, not because you have to, but because you choose to. Being alone isn't about isolation, it's about return. It's coming back to yourself, to your thoughts, to the quiet truths that get buried in the chaos of daily life. Many people hear the word solitude and immediately think of loneliness. It's a natural association in a world that prizes constant connection and endless interaction. But solitude and loneliness are not the same. Loneliness is an absence. It's the longing for something outside yourself. Solitude, on the other hand, is a presence. It's the choice to step into a space where you can fully be with yourself. In solitude, you are not running away. You are running toward clarity, toward peace, toward the voice inside you that often gets lost in the noise. It's a decision to turn down the volume of the world so you can finally hear your own thoughts. When was the last time you truly listened to yourself? Not to your worries or fears, but to the part of you that knows what you need. Think of solitude as planting a seed. On the surface, it seems like nothing is happening. The soil is still, the seed is hidden, but beneath the surface, something extraordinary is taking place. Roots are spreading, anchoring the plant, giving it the strength to grow tall and steady. Solitude works in the same way. In those quiet moments, when nothing seems to be happening, you are building something within yourself. Confidence, clarity, creativity, all of these take root in the stillness, but too often we avoid solitude. We fill the quiet with noise, conversations, distractions, tasks, because stillness can feel uncomfortable. It's in the silence that we confront our deepest truths. Yet, it is also in that silence that we find the answers we've been searching for. What if the very thing you've been running from, the quiet, holds the key to everything you're seeking? How often do we silence our own voices because the expectations of others are louder? The world demands so much from us. Be this, do that, fit here, conform there. It's easy to forget that you have your own voice, your own rhythm, your own way of being. Solitude is where you reclaim that. It's where you step away from the noise of should and must and rediscover the simplicity of I am. When you allow yourself to be alone, you step into a sacred space. It's a space where you can dream without judgment, reflect without interruption, and simply exist without explanation. It's where you remember that your worth is not tied to what you do for others, but to who you are. The world might make you feel like you need to be constantly available, constantly productive, constantly connected. But the truth is, you are at your most powerful when you step back, when you give yourself permission to be with yourself, for yourself. So, I invite you to ask yourself, what might you find if you planted that seed of solitude? What strength could grow within you if you allowed yourself the time and space to nurture it? Solitude isn't a void, it's a gift of growth, of renewal, and of rediscovering the incredible person you already are. When you are alone, you step away from the constant demands and expectations of the world. It is in this space of stillness that you find the rare opportunity to ask yourself the questions that truly matter. Who am I without the roles I play? What do I want, not for others, but for myself? Imagine a moment of silence where the weight of others' opinions and the noise of daily life fades away. In that quiet, you begin to hear something different, the whispers of your own thoughts, the truths you've been too busy to notice. It's as though a fog lifts, and suddenly you see things as they really are. Picture yourself sitting in a quiet room with a blank page before you. As you write, the thoughts that were buried under layers of distraction start to surface. The things you truly value, the dreams you've set aside, the emotions you've ignored, they all come into focus. This is clarity. It's not something that comes from others. It's a gift you give yourself by creating space to listen. Stillness can lead to breakthroughs that surprise you. In the moments when you are alone, you discover not just what you want to do, but who you want to be. You begin to understand that your worth isn't tied to the roles you fill or the expectations placed on you. Instead, it lies in the core of who you are. And the more time you spend alone, the clearer that core becomes. There's something extraordinary about the way your mind works when you're alone. In the absence of distractions, your thoughts have room to stretch, to explore, to create. The best ideas, the most profound insights, often don't come from crowded rooms or busy schedules. They arise in the quiet moments when your mind is free to wander. Think of your mind as a lake. When it's disturbed by constant ripples, conversations, deadlines, obligations, the reflection on its surface is distorted. But when the water is still, it becomes a mirror, perfectly reflecting the world around it. Solitude is what stills the water of your mind, allowing clarity and creativity to emerge. It's in these moments of solitude that imagination thrives. You might find yourself dreaming up solutions to challenges or envisioning new possibilities for your life. Creativity doesn't need noise or chaos to flourish. It needs space. It needs the quiet where new connections can form, where ideas can flow freely. Solitude isn't just a place where thoughts occur. It's a place where ideas grow. It's where you allow your mind to play, to experiment, to dream without fear of judgment. In solitude, you're free to create something beautiful, something uniquely yours. Every day, we expend so much of our energy on others. We listen, we give, we respond, and we care. These acts are important and meaningful, but they also drain us. Over time, without realizing it, we find ourselves running on empty. Solitude is where you refill the well. It's where you recharge, so you can give your best self to the world. Imagine stepping away from the demands of life, even for a short while. Picture yourself walking through a quiet forest, the sunlight filtering through the trees, the sound of your footsteps, the only thing you hear. There's no need to speak, no one asking for your attention. In that moment, you feel your energy returning, like a river flowing back into its course. This is what solitude offers. It's a chance to pause, to breathe, to rest. It doesn't have to be complicated or elaborate. It can be as simple as sitting in your favorite chair with a book, or spending time in a quiet corner of your home. What matters is that it's your time, a moment to focus on your own well-being. When you give yourself the gift of renewal, you're not just doing something for yourself. You're doing something for everyone around you. Because when you're energized and centered, you have more to give. Solitude is not selfish. It's a way to ensure that you can continue to show up for others in the best possible way. Solitude doesn't just recharge your energy, it strengthens your resolve. In the quiet, you learn to stand firm in who you are. You begin to recognize your worth, not because of what you do for others, but because of who you are at your core. When you spend time alone, you discover the value of your own company. You realize that you don't need constant validation or approval from others to feel complete. Solitude teaches you that your presence is enough. It's in these moments that you build inner strength, the kind of strength that allows you to face challenges with confidence and grace.
Spending time alone also helps you understand the importance of boundaries. It's a way of saying to the world, this is my space, this is my time, I am worthy of rest and reflection. When you honor your need for solitude, you're setting a standard for yourself and for others that your peace matters. Learning to say no is one of the most powerful lessons that comes from solitude. It's not about shutting people out, it's about protecting what makes you whole. Boundaries aren't walls, they're the lines that define where your priorities begin. Solitude is not an empty space. It's a space filled with possibility. It's where clarity emerges, where creativity flourishes, where energy is renewed, and where strength is built. When you embrace being alone, you're not turning away from the world. You're preparing yourself to engage with it more fully. You're giving yourself the tools to live a life that is true to who you are, rather than one shaped by the noise around you. Solitude is a gift you give to yourself. It's a time to pause, to breathe, and to reconnect with the person you are beneath the surface. It's not a retreat from life, it's a deeper step into it.
So, let the world wait for a moment. Step into the quiet. Allow yourself to plant the seeds of growth, to still the waters of your mind, to refuel and rebuild. In the end, you'll find that solitude is not something to fear, but something to treasure. It's not the absence of others, it's the presence of yourself. And that presence is where your greatest power lies. For many, the thought of being alone feels daunting. The idea of sitting in silence without the distractions of noise, people, or tasks can stir discomfort. What if you feel too much? What if the quiet reveals emotions you've tucked away, thoughts you've tried to ignore, or questions you're not ready to answer? This fear of solitude is not uncommon, but it's often misunderstood. The discomfort isn't rooted in the act of being alone. It's rooted in the unfamiliarity of facing yourself fully. Imagine a room, dimly lit, where there is only you and your reflection. For some, that image feels isolating. But what if it didn't? What if you saw that room as a sanctuary rather than a place of solitude? What if the silence wasn't empty but full of potential, of peace, of the chance to finally reconnect with yourself? Instead of fearing the quiet, think of it as an opportunity to step into your own presence. This isn't about being alone, it's about being with yourself. There's a significant difference between the two. When you're with yourself, you're not abandoned. You're accompanied by the person who knows you best. You're not isolated. You're embraced by the wholeness of your own existence. The stillness of solitude has a way of magnifying what is true. It's like standing by a calm lake where every ripple reflects the world around you. At first, the reflections may be disorienting, too vivid, too raw, but with time, as the water stills, the beauty of the reflection emerges. The same is true for solitude. It reveals the depths of who you are, not to overwhelm you, but to remind you of your strength and resilience. The fear of being alone often stems from the fear of confronting your own thoughts. Yet those thoughts, no matter how complex, are not your enemies. They are pieces of you waiting to be acknowledged, understood, and eventually transformed. Solitude gives you the space to sit with those thoughts, to listen without judgment, and to begin the process of making peace with yourself. In the quiet, you hear things that are often drowned out in the chaos of daily life. You hear your own voice, steady, clear, and true. It's a voice that tells you what you need, what you desire, and what you're capable of. It's a voice that reminds you of your worth, not because of what you do for others, but because of who you are in your essence. To be alone is not to be lost. It's to find yourself in a way that the world rarely allows. It's to step away from the noise and discover the clarity that can only be found in stillness. In solitude, you are not running from anything. You are returning to everything that makes you whole. So, when the thought of being alone feels daunting,
Remember this: it's not an absence you're stepping into, it's a presence. The presence of your truest self, waiting to be rediscovered, embraced, and celebrated. And in that presence, you'll find that the quiet is not something to fear, but something to treasure. Solitude is a gift that too often goes unrecognized. It brings clarity, allowing you to see yourself and your path with unclouded vision. It ignites creativity, giving your mind the freedom to dream and explore. It restores energy, replenishing your spirit so you can face the world renewed. And it builds strength, reminding you of your inherent worth and teaching you to honor your own boundaries. The world often tells women to be everything for everyone, to give, to nurture, to accommodate, to stretch themselves thin to meet every need. But I'm here to tell you, it's okay to be everything for yourself, even if only for a little while. It's okay to step back, to claim your space, and to embrace the quiet moments where you can reconnect with who you truly are. So today, I invite you to take that step. Find a moment, no matter how small, to be with yourself. Close the door, turn off the noise, and let the world wait. In that stillness, you may discover the parts of yourself that you've been too busy to notice, the parts that are strong, creative, and resilient. Remember, solitude is not a withdrawal from life. It's a deeper step into it. And the person you meet in those moments, the person who has been quietly waiting for your attention, is worth every moment you give. Choose solitude, even for a little while. Choose yourself.